Y'all want to see what happens when a teen wolf gets stranded on an island? Linda Little is a hard worker who enjoys her job. Her co-worker Donovan interrupts her to get the reports for the meeting. When she gives the report, she asks to join the meeting. But Donovan prevents her, telling her that the recognition will still be hers, pointing at her name on the reports. But she sees that he removes her name later on. Even the other losers in the office don't want to hang out with her.
You can't sit with us!
At home, she vents to her bird and remains optimistic as she was promised a VP promotion by the previous president of the company, then turns on her favorite TV show, Survivor, to relax. The next day at the office, she is munching on a tuna sandwich when Franklin announces the new president, Bradley Preston. After the announcement, she shoves the sandwich in the drawer and sloppily cleans her face. She introduces herself to Bradley and offers her condolences to his dead father. While Linda is yapping, Bradley is disgusted by her leftovers on her cheeks and her fat mole. She says she's willing to take on any load he gives her. Same girl, same, because Dylan O'Brien is fine. At Bradley's office, Franklin is discussing business, but Bradley tells him to smell his hand because it smells like fish, but not for the reasons you think. He expresses his disgust at Linda's uncleanliness, but Franklin reminds him that she is the next in line for VP. He decides to block her promotion and promote Donovan instead, since they are homeboys. After a while, Linda discovers this, and she expresses her dismay since she worked for the company for 7 years, while Donovan has only been there for 6 months. Bradley says she's not a people person, not capable of negotiation, and most importantly, doesn't play golf. She feels devastated, so he invites her to join the Bangkok merger to help with the reports. This is her chance to prove herself. Zuri, Bradley's fiancée, enters the office, and Linda congratulates her awkwardly. Then Bradley informs her about the employee's complaint about her tuna fish smell. Linda then goes to her car and cries, realizing her karma from being a mean girl at high school has now come back to bite her. At the private airport, Linda greets their team and informs them that she will fix the loopholes in the files, but Bradley doesn't even know what she's talking about. On the plane, she is working very diligently while Donovan shows the team Linda's audition tape for Survivor. Linda sees the boys laughing at her. Bradley even has the gall to look back and laugh at her. Humiliated, she stops working. A sudden turbulence is felt on the airplane, so the stewardess tells them to sit and wear their seatbelt. A hole is busted on the side of the plane and sucks out the dudes with no seatbelts. Donovan grabs onto Linda's legs. She helps him, but the prick tries to steal her seat. The Asian dude, Chase, asks Bradley for help, but he knocks him away. He flies out and grabs onto Donovan, but he kicks his face, so he bites on Donovan's legs to not get thrown off. Donovan chokes Linda to steal her seat, but she manages to get a fork from the floor to remove his grip. The two guys get thrown outside. Donovan's tie has kept him safe and begs for Linda to do something, so she shuts the blinds. The plane loses power and falls into the sea. She manages to unbuckle her seat and swim out. She wakes up on shore, alone. After walking for some time, she sees Bradley on shore with an injured leg. She uses her primitive survival skills to make a temporary shelter for them, which protects them from the rain. In the morning, Bradley wakes up. Linda provides him with water that she collected from the rain. He asks if there are other survivors, and whimpers when he learns that his DL sneaky link Donovan has died. Linda makes a fire and celebrates like a caveman. She cooks fish and feeds him, but he hates fish and gags. I'll show him my gag reflex. While she is cooking a snail, he bosses her around and tells her to prioritize finding them help. But Linda focuses on keeping them alive by handling food, water, and shelter. He continues to be bossy, even here on the island, reminding her that she works for him. Her flabbers are gasted by his arrogance, so she leaves him. Bradley is all alone for hours, losing his mind due to solitude and lack of water. Night comes and a strong wind destroys the temporary shelter. The next day, he calls for Linda as he is baking in the sun, and it's ruining his fine face. She brings him some water and reminds him that he is not the boss here. Inside the jungle, Linda sneaks in carrying a wooden spear, tracking the boar. She is chased by the boar, but manages to slay it Mama Boots. At the camp, she throws Peppa Pig's head close to Bradley for shock value. The two of them eat the boar and spend the night laughing maniacally because Linda brings home the bacon. The next day, Linda is inside the jungle and sees a waterfall. While washing herself, she starts thinking she's fine now. Then she sees a boat getting closer to the island, but decides not to call for help just yet. When Linda gets back, Bradley opens up about his frustration of not being found after 2 weeks. He recommends building a raft, but she says that should be the last resort. The discussion steers negatively, and Linda says Bradley only became CEO because it was his father's company, so he fires her. Bradley attempts to build his own camp, but fails miserably. Even the sign he makes is misspelled HEPL. His hunger makes him munch on some bugs, but he spits it out. Meanwhile, Linda is thriving with fruits and a sushi spread when Bradley approaches to ask for some. He notices that she has a knife, which she tells him it got washed up on the beach. To be able to eat, he apologizes for his actions, even compliments her glow-up, then hires her back to the company. Linda interviews him to know what he is willing to offer. When asked, he starts to strip to show his desperation, which she stops. Even if she likes him, she was not planning to take advantage of him. Girl, some of us were trying to take a peek. He chows down, but he grimaces while staring at her, indicating he's still disgusted by her. After lunch, she invites him to walk up the mountains to work out his healing legs. They walk around the mountain on a treacherous path and see the vast ocean. She even warns him not to eat yellow berries. She points to a distant X-shaped landscape to warn him not to go there because of poisonous plants. While walking back, the ground beneath Linda breaks. She manages to grab onto the vines and Bradley saves her. And for a brief moment, it looks like these two finna break each other's backs. At camp, she reveals she's been brewing some homemade alcohol, so they drink it up. She starts to open up about how she's a widow, and he apologizes, but says her husband wasn't a nice man to her since he was an alcoholic. She even admits to purposefully giving him his car keys, knowing he'd drive drunk and die. Bradley is extremely disturbed by this revelation. The next morning, she is caught watching him in his birthday suit. And my God, his cake is huge. Later, an intense storm forces them to take shelter in a cave. The two are soaking wet, so they snuggle to use their body heat to warm up. She's just living my fantasies. The next morning, Linda wakes up in the cave without Bradley. She finds him outside looking a little sus. They plan to create a new camp because the old camp was fully destroyed. At dinner, he offers to make food for her as a sign of gratitude. While eating, Linda feels dizzy and notices yellow berries in her food. When the poison incapacitates her, Bradley rushes to get his raft and sail into the ocean. He successfully sails a few feet away, but his Minecraft skills suck, so the raft gets destroyed by the waves. The next day, he apologizes to her again because he failed his escape plan. She cooks octopus for him to console him. He eats it, and after a while, he goes numb. She tells him that it's a blue-ringed octopus, which is poisonous. He has gone paralyzed, and there is true fear in his eyes. Linda reassures him that the paralysis is only temporary. While talking to him, Linda sharpens the knife and heats it up. She then removes his pants and underwear and tells him that there is a process done to make a person more compliant. She uses the knife to cut below, outside his view, and worst of all, outside our view. Bradley tears up as he fears for the worst. He does not want to lose his ding-a-ling. Due to the toxins, he does not feel anything, so he can only cry. While she cuts, blood squirts, and he grunts, fearing he has lost his 12-incher. Linda shows a rat. She flings it in front of him to show that she is only trolling. However, the next time he tries to do a dangerous stunt like that, he will become a eunuch. After 2 days, Bradley helps in the camp, and Linda continues to troll by asking him to smile. He looks at her with disdain, but fakes a smile anyway. While she is gathering fruits to cheer up Bradley, a boat comes to the shore with Zuri on board. Linda nervously smiles and tells Zuri that Bradley is doing well. The fisherman with Zuri tells Linda that she doesn't need to collect mangoes as they have tons of food, but Linda gets snappy with him. She's apprehensive at first, but realizes there's only 2 of them on the boat. She guides them to their camp and tells them to take the shortcut. As they trek the mountainside, a part of the pathway breaks, and Zuri almost falls but manages to grab on. The fisherman helps Zuri, both screaming for Linda to help, but Linda only watches as she plots what to do next. Linda returns to camp alone, clearly in her feels. Soon, Bradley says he's gonna hunt a boar, but Linda is depressed and stays behind. With the knife unguarded, he takes it. Bradley tracks the boar when he sees a hand on the beach with a familiar wedding ring. He realizes that it's Zuri who is buried there. He cries and screams with pure guttural rage. He runs toward the camp in anger. At the beach, Bradley confronts her about Zuri. Linda tells him that she slipped on accident, but he gets angry because she kept it a secret. He asks if it was really an accident or like the death of her husband. She tries to locate the knife in her pocket, but Bradley shows that he has the knife. Linda flees and Bradley chases her. Inside the jungle, the two brawl by biting, pulling each other's hair, and gouging each other's eyes. Linda manages to get the wedding ring from Bradley and swallows it to assert dominance. Pure psycho. He even puts her face in some poop. After stabbing him, she sees that Bradley is running towards the mountain with an X-shaped formation. To his surprise, there is a mansion there. He enters the house asking for help while preventing blood loss. He opens the refrigerator to drink some water when the lights turn dim, and Linda monologues like a villain. Bradley tries to locate some knives, but she says she has the only one that supposedly washed up on shore. She monitors his movement while taunting him. She confesses that all this time they could have been saved, but she decided not to call the boat. Instead, she went to the mansion when it was empty to eat and relax. It's also revealed that she ended Zuri by smashing the fisherman's head with a rock, so both of them fell into the ocean. Bradley is in a room and he sees the shadow of Linda approaching. He is about to attack when she appears, carrying a shotgun, and points it at Bradley. He begs for his life and tries to convince her that he has changed. He convinces her that he will stay here with her. The crazy beach, Linda feels happy with this proposition, but she notices that one of the displays is missing a horn. Bradley lunges with the horn and manages to steal the gun from her. Upon clicking to shoot, the shotgun doesn't work since there are no bullets. Linda ends the fight by using a golf club to bash him. Transitioning to Linda at the golf club after 1 year, the reporter interviews her about her being the only survivor of the plane crash. Linda lies about the experience and announces her upcoming self-help book. Linda drives into the distance as she enjoys her new life as a survivor. Completely unhinged behavior by Linda. I was rooting for Linda at first because of all the bullying, but the fact that she killed the innocent Zuri was what made her unlikable. Don't get me wrong, Bradley was a terrible human being as well. What are your thoughts about this one?
Hey, if you like this video, make sure you subscribe now and turn on the notification because YouTube isn't recommending my videos. And if you'd like to watch more foolishness, click here